Hello everyone, I am Palpatine001, aka the Senate, and we are back with City Skylines 2, woohoo, after the Detailers update about 2 weeks ago, which again broke all the mods, and we had to wait for them to come back up to scratch before we could get going with Cape Solaria again. So this is Cape Solaria on the Cape Calvin, Cape Calvin map, which is available in the Paradox Workshop. You can see the map here, so you're smack bang in the middle as you develop out your city with a couple of islands either way. We've gone down developing technically 3 different areas at the moment: 4, Pearlcrest and Newmarket, the city centre with downtown, Cape Solarian Point, Brightwater, and then you've got Manukau and Cape Solarian Island. Now we've hit 105,000, so we've gone over the 100,000 population mark, so that's the big milestone. So the city is pretty much, well, should be self-sustaining in normal circumstances. So what we'll do with the 100,000, so we've gone above 100,000, is we'll take a look at all the stats, take a review of the city, and then get ready to basically, for the lack of better, start bridging the gap between the Newmarket city centre, Manukau Heights, and Worry. Start stitching it all together. So you have some infrastructure that does connections all the way around, such as the railway and the roads. Things like the metro and buses don't do so quite yet. So we need to start getting it all put together. First thing, we'll go through where we're at. So parking at the moment is pretty much fine. Unfortunately, with the continued mass migration, because of city things, our city thing is low. So if we take a quick look at the population, we've ridden through the death wave, but we're still suffering from this due to, I believe this is the homeless bug causing problems. But for the sake of argument, apart from a couple of areas in, say, in the industry, it's technically because we still have a lot of migrating traffic, but it's mainly contained to where, ironically, where the transit is. The rest of it, it's flying well, and that's always going to be congested while we continue to have these mass migration waves. Power running pretty much on all 100% low carbon. Water's all pretty good. Should probably let that go just to. Hopefully it gets going, because there we go. So that's where we are processing wise. Healthcare, as I said, that we're now moving away from the death wave, so that's now going to start coming back up quite high in the green. Garbage, we're doing okay. Firefighting's okay. We don't have disasters on, so that's irrelevant. Yeah, crime's pretty much next to nothing. That's administration, so well-being should all be good. Apart from the industrial areas, by the looks of it, but that's the industrial areas, so it should be okay. Although we could do probably with another welfare centre, or we will build, actually we need to build another welfare centre in the city centre area, because we're quite lacking in there. Education is okay, we're just working this way through. We've got the new options available. Public transport still going. Now we have got what's it called? Realistic trips on. So this is going to simulate things a little bit. So we've got that currently, so that will always play funky with your traffic a bit. But given I used real-time mod in CS1, we're used to it. But that's how we're moving people around. Post is always post. I'm probably going to need to build another post-collection facility on this side just to get things moving. Communications are all good. So about that. That's good. Parks, we use parks everywhere, so not having to worry about too much about parks today. So we are effectively a very, very green city. Tourism, well, that's not too bad. And that's not, yes, tourism's there where it's applicable. Absolutely none in the energy, but given we don't have things like after dark tourism, it is a little bit harder than it ought to be because we don't have the tourism districts like we did in CS1. Outside connections, so this is what we're importing, but this is also what we're exporting to the industry. We'll need to adjust for that. Accordingly. Of course, we have our residential. That's just highlighting things out. Commercial, industrial, and office. Wealth, so we're moving our way through the levels, saying that we make our way into level 5. Across the board, our industry's always slow to catch up compared to the rest, but our residential's slowly making its way through. Land value. See the land value is starting to make its way through with the richer areas up in Newmarket and technically the downtown and city centre. Company profitability, so that's okay. Natural resources, this is a pretty rich map, so I don't need to worry too much about that. So we're pretty all safe there. Population, as I just showed earlier. Population density, of course, being Manukau and technically the downtown. Happiness, we're all a bunch of happy Cims, that's a new one. So I need to go through and see why they are packing us sad with that one. So I've got to go through all the schools later. Happiness. Workplace availability. So total workplaces. We have, oh, okay, that's come up. Yeah, we're just about maxing out. So this is a good thing, and it's pretty stable across the board, although most educated jobs are filled. And of course we have air pollution, which is pretty self-contained for the most part. Ground pollution, is that still, yeah, it takes a little while to evaporate. However, I think we've finally dealt with that one. Now, if there's no air pollution on the other side, we can actually build on that side. Noise pollution, always going to be a given. And, of course, the water pollution, mainly from our industry, if nothing else. So that is where we currently are with the city. Now, public transport wise, is this one? Yep. The good thing is we use the mod to do this, so I can overlook all the lines. Some are named, some are not, so I've got to go through them, and that way I can work out what's going on. And it's also just provided. Tells you what's going on. Of course, we've got the settings coming soon. If I do vehicles, it also shows me what what's going on with the vehicle too, so I know what is exactly going on with that. So we've got all those features available. So just get rid of that. Just before the update came through, we did a little bit of work on bringing the infrastructure up to scratch, so we made sure we got water, but also at the same time we started laying things down like metro lines. You can see we're starting to go across city, and we started adding in woohoo. You can see it's always a bit congested there as more Cims move in. This is a case of, was that a case of also the parking just being a pain in the backside. But we started upgrading our transport because we've starting to find our bus lines were starting to get very overcrowded very quickly, and they wouldn't be able to handle. So we laid metro and tram lines in place. Like this was constantly getting overloaded, and it's still quite heavily used, and we'll keep it in force. But it is backed up with things like the metro line, which is doing very well for itself as well. So we did a lot of that. Now, if you're wondering about detailing that, I typically don't do it, but from time to time I might do some of it at a more high level, like using the new passageway parks to do a little interior thing. So if we were to drop down, you can see what it's like. You can see a lot of people on the move. But if we were to drop down, you can probably hear the city noises. Very busy. We're on Cape Solaria Island. I can hear it. Emergency service vehicle. Oh yeah, it's an ambulance. But you see, we will do detailing from time to time. So hop into the park. Work our way through. So we do have our green spaces as well available. You can see behind the row houses in there. Just placed down a couple of props down there. Nothing fancy. We don't do all that detailing, but we'll do a bit of it time to time. If I was to pop in to come off the park green space, this is currently using the row houses with parking. So if I was to spin out, yep. Look, these actually come out of the parking lot. So let's go. Cross over. So that would be a suitable place for a path actually, connecting up. But you can see with the detailing going on where this is generated. Yeah, you can see where we could do some modifications there. So if I was to shoot out the front, walk along the main street and you see the mixed use in action. So here it is. So this is where they access through. So if I was to shoot down the side, through here. So there is quite a bit of richness, and there is richness into that's the asset itself. A richness into the city as it was. And I said, I'm just wondering if that's going to let me do a path. No, it won't. It's a bit too thin. Never mind. So we basically got everything ready for the major expansion, which we are about to do. So that's the city in general. Colossal Order, or City Skylines, released a poll question today, and I'll go and get it for you actually. So as City Skylines, if you were offered 100,000, that's nice, to do either of these in your most recent City Skylines city, to drive, which would you pick? Drive every road. That's the one I would normally do. As, yeah, you would have seen some of my videos of where we just go driving everywhere. And it's always a pile of good fun to do. And it's also the fact that it also allows you to do a lot of trouble fixing is what's going on. What's going on down here? The question is they're all trying to jam into the parking lot, which then jams up the tram lines. Which is now going to be an absolute pain in the backside as he tries and gets round. Because we've got to feed all that through, because for some reason they all want to go and have a park. Just back, we just did a wee little upgrade there just to smooth things along there a little bit, if anything. We'll see how that goes. That might just stabilize. It's out on its own, so they're all going up to there to the parking lot. But we'll see how it all ends up in the district. Pretty much ends there, so if anything on. End it there. So that's where we are at the moment, leading up to. So what are we up to next? Well, ironically, one of the metro lines actually gives it away. At the moment, it flows from Cape Solaria into Manukau, and it will go all the way out to linking up here to the city centre. So it's basically going to cut right across here and into here, where we already have another line flowing through to the downtown and out to Cape Solaria Point. So our next goal is to stitch basically between the railway line and the highway all up together, so we have one continuous flow, and then we'll start going backwards and forwards, backfilling it. Also, we just can't keep forgetting industry, as we are hungry for industry, so we will look at that. Just take a look at the highway connections and see where they are. If anything, that's a long connection, so we are likely to drop a highway connection in here. Now the catch is that the railway lines are very close by as well, so you've got to be careful of the railway line. So if anything, high supporting, probably a bit on the too large side, so this is going to be as well. It's just because we have the railway connection in here. I don't think we can jack that up. The other way of doing that is turning this into a could use this as we've got before, but that creates a bit of a linear situation, so we could go for don't have the room for that, so we could go for that, but that's going to interfere with down there and the port. Or we can, oh, could we do it if we do a realignment of the highway? It's very expensive of the highway. Ah, we've got that there, so no. The answer is actually technically no, because you're going to run into that, so I could just do, might have to custom this one out. Or we could do one of these, which would technically work. I just need to probably just spike the railway, or more to the point, it will be a case of we drop the highway. Yeah, it might be easier to drop one because it's not going to interfere as well. Because actually that technically, oh, you could do it. Could custom do this, spawn it off. But that just runs perpetually into a major cliff line there, so probably not. Yeah, so we'll probably drop this fella in here. I'll reset the railway line to probably do it up and over, go under. Is there any cargo lines sitting on it? No, there is no cargo lines. They go around, but it does allow for through access. Although that said, I think for through access there might be a spare one as well. So that's okay. Yeah, so in 34 degrees. Oof, that's warm. Yeah, so we will basically be working our way patching this in, and we'll be moving a railway yard over as well. So to stitch the city together and get ready to go into 150,000. And as always, we will have our riding around the trains and buses. I am Palpatine 001, okay to Senate, and this is, well, going beyond 100,000 in Cape Solaria post-economy update 2.0.